The following is a production of Cary TV, the Town of Cary's government access channel.
Call to order the March 23rd meeting of the Cary Town Council. And I'd like to mention that Mrs. Robinson, who's absent currently, she'll be here a little bit later, she's currently chairing the Triangle Council of Government Board of Delegates meeting, and will be joining us, as I said, a little bit later. We usually have our meetings on Thursdays, so it's not a conflict, but since we're on a Wednesday, it is a conflict, and that's why she is not here. So to start off our meeting, I'm going to recognize Mr. France for our ceremonial opening. Mr. France.
Thank you, Mayor. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our first order of business is to adopt the agenda. The applicant for item 4.8, William and Billy Mills annexation, which is 15A15, has requested this item be removed from our agenda. So is there a motion to adopt the amended agenda?
So moved. Second.
There's a motion and a second. Discussion. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. We are now at item number 2, recognitions, reports, and presentations. We have a lot of special guests with us this evening. One group of people we have are Troop 242 out of Peace Presbyterian, working on their merit badge. We also have School of Government people here observing how government actually works in their town. So if you would all stand and be recognized at this time. Thank you all very much for being here. Our first presentation is the 5th Cary Month Proclamation. And I would ask for Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Resources Chair Sarah Martin and Senior Operations and Program Supervisor Sam Trogdon to join Mr. France at the podium for the presentation.
Well, it's always an honor for me to present this every year, and given that I'm the most fit council member, it just makes so much sense. But also would like to recognize Ms. Sarah Martin, Chair of our Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Advisory Boards, and Mr. Sam Trogdon of our staff. And they do a phenomenal job of everything Parks and Rec that is Cary. So it's an honor to present this proclamation. And this is the proclamation recognizing April 2016 as Fit Cary Month in the town of Cary. Whereas the town has been recognized as a fit community, a bronze level bicycle friendly community, and a bronze level walk friendly community. And whereas regular physical activity has curative and protective health benefits, which can improve the quality of life for everyone in Cary. And whereas the combination of healthy, active lifestyles and healthy eating are critical for maintaining good health and preventing disease. A healthier population also means long-term cost savings for our society at large. And whereas representatives of the National Physical Activity Plan call on organizations and individuals to recognize the importance of physical activity, they encourage citizens to walk, bike, or use public transportation as a healthy, environmentally friendly mode of transportation. They encourage workplaces to provide more physical activity opportunities for their employees. And the Town of Cary Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Resources Department provides hundreds of physical activities and health-related programs each month for our citizens. Whereas to celebrate Fit Cary Month for 2016, the public is invited to participate in free fitness activities to improve both mind and body. Now, therefore, I, Don France, on behalf of Harold Weinberg, Jr., Mayor of the Town of Cary, North Carolina, and on behalf of the entire Cary Town Council, do hereby proclaim April 2016 as Fit Cary Month in the Town of Cary, North Carolina, and I encourage all of our citizens to become more physically active and support policies and programs that help them do so. Proclaim this 23rd day of March 2016.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you to all of our council members for making this proclamation and for making this happen in the town of Cary for many years running now. It's interesting, our association with physical activity, nutrition, what it means in our lives, what it means to our mindset, what it means to our bodies, is something different for everybody. But at the same time, the town of Cary offers so many opportunities for our citizens throughout the year that we think it's just extra special that we get a month to be able to really celebrate Fit Cary. I looked up some statistics on overweight and obese numbers in Wake County and in the state of North Carolina and wanted to share some of that with you. For adults, the 2010 North Carolina Behavioral Risk Factor Surveillance System data shows that in Wake County, 35.5% of adults are overweight. In North Carolina, that number is even worse, at 37.2%. As far as obesity goes, in Wake County, 24.4% of our adults are obese. But in North Carolina, again, statistics are worse, 29.3%. The Healthy North Carolina 2020 goal is that 38.8% of our adults will be neither overweight nor obese. But we're not there yet. We're at 40.2% at the current time. Then we turn to look at children. Children are a special heartbeat of mine. I've been very involved with PTA in Wake County and several PTA units throughout our county. 2009, which is the latest data we have for this, NC NPASS data shows that overweight and obese statistics for children 5 to 11 in Wake County, 43.2% of our children age 5 to 11 are overweight or obese. And it gets worse for 12 to 18-year-olds. That number in Wake County, 49.5%. So you can see there's a real need for an emphasis on physical activity, good nutrition throughout the year. And we really appreciate that the town of Cary is going to do something about this and is working on it every year with Fit Cary Month and throughout the year with all of the activities that are offered as a part of our Parks and Rec department. I did want to also mention, I'm sure you've seen in the news, Wake County was recently named the healthiest county in the state of North Carolina. That's something that I think is in large part due to one of its largest municipalities, which is the town of Cary. So thank you very much for all that you're doing to support our citizens and their wellness. I do hope that over the course of the next month, all of you will consider taking part in at least one of the Fit Cary activities. And you're going to hear more about those from Sam here in just a minute. But please know that I've issued a challenge to the Parks, Rec, and Cultural Resources Advisory Board members to each participate in a minimum of one activity from the Fit Cary menu, shall we say. And they will be reporting back in the May Advisory Board meeting to let us know which at least one activity they did participate in. I'd like to issue a similar challenge to you, that all of you would participate in at least one. So I hope you will listen with interest as Sam gives you some more details about what we have planned for the month of April, and find something wisely to participate in the month, and maybe I'll see you out there. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. First of all, I'd like to say thank you for your support of our Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Resources Department. Through your support, Cary is a leader in our county and in our state with our programs that we offer, so thank you for that. As Sarah mentioned, I would like to invite you to many of our Fit Cary promotions that we're doing during the month. We're trying to make fitness an easy choice for our residents so that they can start a healthy lifestyle. Our motto is Get Fit, Be Fit, and Stay Fit with Cary and with our programs. To highlight some special programs that we have, April 1st is our kickoff event at Bond Park Community Center with a family fun night. So it's a free activity where we encourage families to bring their children and interact together and help build our community together. In addition to that, kicking off the week of April 4th, all of our fitness programs for adults, or many of our fitness programs for adults, are going to be free so that you can come out and try our fitness programs such as yoga, Pound Fitness, and some of our other aerobics classes. All of that information that I am speaking about today is on our website, townofcary.org. In addition to that, the next week, the week of April 11th, we'll have open gym, free open gym participation so that you can come out to our different community centers and participate in activities such as pickleball, badminton, volleyball, and preschool open gym as well. All you have to do is just visit the front desks of any of the community centers and even the senior center to participate in some of those programs. On April 16th, we have the annual Cary Road Race, so we do encourage you to come out and run a nice 5K or the fun walk that we have with that event. And then finally, we wrap up with April 30th at Spring Days in Bond Park, the Wake Med Spring Days Wellness Challenge, where we encourage people to live a healthy lifestyle. So we kick off the month on April 1st with our Family Fun Night, and we end the month in style with the Spring Days Arts and Crafts Festival and the Wake Med Wellness Challenge. In addition to all of those programs, we do highlight and encourage healthy eating. We have the Sports Snack Game Plan, where we encourage our youth participants to bring healthy snacks following their competition, such as water and orange slices. We also promote healthy eating with our mini camps programs, with our camp snack program and packing a healthy lunch. So as Sarah Martin did mention, we do invite you to come out, participate in our programs, and live and show by example the residents of Cary how our leaders value fitness and wellness and want to participate and lead the charge with us. So again, thank you for your support, and we hope to see you out there.
Thank you, Mr. Trogdon. Thank you, Ms. Martin, for everything you do to help our community become more and more fit. Thank you. Our next item is the 2016 Biennial Citizen Satisfaction Survey Report. Public Information Director Susan Moran and Dr. Kevin Baker will present this report. Ms. Moran.
Good evening, Council. This is the 10th consecutive time that you have decided to do a scientific representative sampling of Cary citizens to find out what's really going on in the community. I'm so proud to be part of that project and very proud to be part of the results that you're going to see tonight. Once again, we have our researcher, Dr. Kevin Baker, here to hit some of the highlights, and when he's finished his short presentation, we'll be glad to answer questions.
Thank you, Susan. Mr. Mayor, Council, good to see all of you again. Susan asked me to give you a brief summary of the overall results from the survey, and I think you're going to find it very positive overall. Let's go ahead and get started with the methodology. First off, in January, we conducted a telephone survey. We surveyed 401 residents over the age of 18, and we used listed, unlisted, and wireless numbers. Actually, 89% this time were wireless numbers. Margin of error came out to be plus or minus 5%, actually lower than that, but we went by the standards. 15 to 18 minutes was the completion time. We surveyed for age and gender to be representative, and the refusal rate was very low, actually 20.6%. And let's start out and let's look at the staff customer service overall. Town government staff was first, and as you can see, all A minuses and a B plus for them. All the means increased this time, and 4 of the grades improved, and you can see that's professionalism, knowledgeable, helpful, and the overall quality of customer service. And then the highest means to date were earned by knowledgeable, helpful, overall quality of service, and customer service, and the promptness of response. This will be the best performance thus far for the town government staff. And then the police department also earned exceptional grades. All the means increased, and 3 of the grades improved. Those were response time, fairness, and problem solving. And response time, that was the highest grade they've earned thus far in any of the surveys we have done. And the fire department continues to earn the highest grades of any department. Since 2012, they've earned A pluses, and including that, the highest means to date for competence, fairness, and problem solving. So the fire department, as usual, earning the high grades. A little bit of a decline here for Parks and Recreation, not much though. 5 of the 6 means did decrease by a little bit. 4 of the grades declined accordingly, and that was facility qualities of registration, program quality, and cost or amount of fee, but none of these were statistically significant in their decline. But even with the decline, you still earn 5 A's and a B plus, which is, excellent. And then let's take a look at solid waste services. 2 of the means increased, and that was yard waste and loose leaf. And if you see that, they were fairly good increases. 2 of them declined very slightly for curbside garbage and recycling. Notice those declines were minimal. And if you convert these to grades, they would still remain all A minuses for this for solid waste. Let's take a look at quality of life. Quality of life we asked again this year, and the mean did drop from 3.23 to 3.16, and this was a 5-point scale. So anything on the above 3 was the improved side or the better side. Anything below 3 would be the worst side. So we sort of look at that better-worse percentages. This year, 22.9% versus 8.9% on the better-worse comparison. And if you go back to 2014, it was a little better. It was a little higher, I should say, 25.7 versus 7.9. That sort of illustrates the reason for that slight decline. And then we asked those people who did give scores lower than 3, well, what's the reason you're giving a score lower than 3? And traffic and crime were the 2 key ones, and they increased significantly over the previous times we asked this question. And then we look at Cary overall as a place to live. Again, earning a great mean of 8.11 with 97.6% on the desirable side of that 9-point scale, and then only 0.06% on the undesirable side. But that has declined, and something to pay attention to. That's the 3rd consecutive survey we've seen this slight decline build. And let's take a look at the most important issues, which could be related to that. Growth continues to be number 1, traffic number 2, and crime and safety now is number 3. That moved significantly from 2014, which I think it was 6 by then. We don't have it in there. School issues was 4th, and if you can look over across from that, look at growth. At 2014, there was 151 comments down to 126. Traffic and improving the roads also decreased, so there are less significant issues, and schools also decreased. So the major issues from 14 have declined somewhat in the number of responses, but then crime and safety has jumped in there, and downtown revitalization, of course, has dropped off of that. Then we asked respondents in 3 areas of Cary, how safe do they feel? The first one is how safe do you feel overall in Cary? And note that it declined a little bit from 8.15 to 8.06, and this also is the 3rd consecutive decline for this. But keep in mind, even with the decline, 96% were on the safe side of that 9-point scale versus only 1.1% on the unsafe side. So a little bit of a decline there in safe Cary overall. But in our home neighborhoods now, about the same as last year, a really high mean, 8.37, and it remains about unchanged. And we can see that the safe side was amazing, 97.5% on the safe side and only 0.05% on the unsafe side. So very safe in the home neighborhoods. And then in public places, this also went up, but very slightly, from 787 to 789. And overall, the safe side was still garnered 93.5% of the responses versus 0.08. So still feeling very safe, but it means a little bit lower than the other two areas overall. And that's been consistently like that for a while. Let's look at the tax rate. Now, this is a 5-point scale, so anything above 3 is going to be saying that the taxes are a little bit on the high side. Anything below 3 would say it's on the lower side. And so let's take a look, and we notice that the mean has gone up from 3.27 to 3.36. And just taking a look at that above 3 percentage, we see it's 35.6. And in 2014, it was only 26.7. So that seems to be where that's coming from. So we've got a little bit of a skewing that it's a little bit on the high side for the tax rate. But this is a 5-point scale. Most of the skewing came from the somewhat high category, not the very high category. And it went from 19.1 to 28.3. And let's take a look at the cleanliness and appearance of public areas. And when you see that red little asterisk up there, that tells you that it was statistically significant. So we've got 4 increases that were statistically significant overall, and 3 of the grades improved, and that includes parks, greenways, and streets. This would be the most successful year ever for the cleanliness and appearance of public areas. And then also, here's one, too, that pat your back on, the maintenance of streets and roads. When we first started measuring this, it was a D+, and that was 1998. And today, it moved up to a C+, which is the highest grade earned thus far for an area that's tough to get good grades on. So that's a good mark. Let's talk about communicating with citizens a little bit. We asked 3 areas: informed about government services, projects, issues, and satisfaction with information available and opportunities to participate in decision-making. All of those increased this year. Note from 6.52 to 6.68 for the informed, and then 7.07 to 7.33, and that was statistically significant increase for making information available about services, projects, and issues. And then decision-making also increased from 6.56 to 6.67. Overall. Matter of fact, the second one there, the one that's statistically significant about making information available, was tied for the highest ever for that mean overall. Let's move on and take a look at barriers. No change here. People were asked what's a major barrier to getting involved, and the top 3 are the same as they were in 2014. They're too busy, don't have time. They don't know about the opportunities, and the timing is inconvenient. And those are the only ones that actually went with a mean above 3. And if it's a 9-point scale, everything above 5 would mean it's a major barrier. So really, they're not significant barriers, but they're still all below the mean point there. Let's talk about the focus areas. And you're going to see some changes in this, and positive changes. First off, Parks and Recreation, the overall job the town does with Parks and Recreation. Notice the asterisk. Statistically significant increase this year. Matter of fact, it's the highest mean to date. I'm going to say that over and over. You're going to hear 95.2% were on the satisfied side, only 0.5% on the dissatisfied side. Now we also asked the people, said that gave us lower scores on this. What was the reason for that? And actually, that would be any score below 5 even. There were only 3 comments, and those were to add more events or to add more parks, and that's it. And then the other 2 comments, let's improve lazy days. People want it on a Sunday or maybe make it a 3-day event. And that's the only comments we got on that side. Let's take a look at environmental protection. Environmental protection went from 7.53 to 7.74, statistically significant. A whopping 95.5% on the satisfied side, only 1.9 dissatisfied. Then we asked them the reason for the low score, and recycling came up mostly, and it was too restrictive. Maybe a little more collection would be appropriate. And there were 2 comments about cutting down too many trees. All right. And this is a different scale. This is on an effectiveness scale, not a satisfied scale. And this went from 7.49 to 7.72, statistically significant, high score to date. 92.3 on the effective side, only 2.7 on ineffective. Then we asked, well, what's the reason if you feel you were ineffective on it, or you gave an ineffective score? And most of those came for the high cost of living, only 4 comments overall, and then the need for maybe more input, 3 overall comments. Next, transportation. Historically, an area that has not ranked too well has moved up to be from a 6.94 to a 7.20 mean on that 9-point scale. And this also represents the highest ever. 84.1% satisfied, only 5.9% dissatisfied. Notice there's a lot of comments on how to improve on this area, and most of those include, most of those comments, actually 17 of them, the lights need to be synchronized better. That's what people felt. Then there were 13 comments to improve C-Tran, and man, they gave a bunch of comments on this one. Longer hours, more and longer routes, more stops, easier for seniors to use, and maybe Sunday and holiday availability. And then there were 8 comments in general just to improve traffic. And then planning and development, job the town is doing on planning and development, also statistically significant increase, highest mean to date, 83.4% satisfied, only 4.6% dissatisfied. And they gave quite a few comments there, 41 comments on how to improve their satisfaction. And actually, a lot of them, 12 of them, the people they're not familiar with the planning issues and don't keep up with it. And then those that did have issues, school overcrowding came in and overdevelopment, but only with 6 and 4 comments. And then downtown revitalization would be the lowest ranked of those focus areas, but it has increased from, major increase from 6.58 to 7.0. This is the highest mean to date, statistically significant in the change. 77.8 on satisfied, 7.9 dissatisfied. And this time there were 70 suggestions to improve, to make them more satisfied. And the major comment was waste of money and waste of time, 11 comments. The hotel was mentioned a few times within that mix. And then also other comments were it's taking too long to complete, 10 comments. Some people are not familiar, don't go downtown, nothing to offer. And then, of course, traffic issues. But downtown improved to a great degree. Then we asked the residents, the respondents to the survey, about Wi-Fi availability in the community. And there were 357 total responses to this. And virtually all the respondents, that's about 171 who do use Wi-Fi, said they could not think of any issues or areas that they could not receive that. Keep in mind, there was 100 residents who don't use it, so they don't count in that mix, and 55 were unaware even of its availability. And then the areas that were mentioned, well, the airport with only 6 comments, and then stores while out shopping, and I think there was a few comments on the library, and that was, I think, mostly in the basement area of that, I do believe. And then 2 new questions. The first one says, satisfaction with the job the town is doing with seniors. And a high percentage were on the satisfied side of this one, 86.1, only 0.08 on the dissatisfied side. Now, if we converted that to a grade, it would be a solid B overall. There were 27 comments to improve their satisfaction, and 17 of those were people who actually they don't really use the services, so they weren't familiar with it. So, and that actually could be pulling the mean down a little bit. And then the others who do and familiar with the services, most of them said they need better public transportation for seniors, maybe more senior housing. But there was only 2 comments. Better sidewalks and ramps were 2 comments. And finally, satisfaction with the job the town is doing for citizens with disabilities. This time the mean was also 7.58, also a little above the seniors, and it was a B grade as well, with 86% on the satisfied side, only 0.06% on the dissatisfied side. And then we asked them, well, what ways could we make you more satisfied? And again, we got the 12 comments of people who weren't familiar with the services in general. Those that were, again, mentioned public transportation and improving C-Tran overall. So let's look at the big picture. The big picture, your overall summary, 11 grades improved this time, and 12 grades were unchanged, only 4 declined. And then look at the overall mix, 20 distribution, 22 grades in the A range, 4 grades in the B range, and only 1 grade, that's the streets, maintenance of streets and roads, in the C range, that was a C+. Your overall mean for those common dimensions was 8.30. The only time that's been exceeded was 2012 when it was 8.36, but in 2012, it was this area, this 2016 exceeded it in the focus area. So this may have been your best year ever overall. We'll be glad to entertain any questions you may have.
Questions? Very informative.
Great presentation.
You answered all our questions.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you, Council.
Thank you very much.
Mayor?
Yes.
Just one thing. While staff's excited about these results, we're not satisfied with these results. And I just wanted Council to know that we are looking at this report thoroughly. We are going to be developing an action plan to focus on these results so that in 2 years we'll be up saying that this is the best year ever.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Bajorek, and I'm confident you will do that. You have the best of the best, and you're always looking to get better. So thank you very much for all you and your staff do. We're going to now move to our next item on the agenda. It's Public Speaks Out. Public Speaks Out, if you would like to speak at Public Speaks Out, we've included instructions on the printed agenda for this forum. And I would ask that you please take a seat in the rows to my right that are shown as reserved and follow the instructions on the agenda. Speakers for Public Speaks Out have 3 minutes for their comments, and they may speak on any topic as long as it's not a public hearing. And we do have several public hearings tonight. As I said, a 3-minute time limit is in Public Speaks Out, and I will enforce that time limit. We have a timer on the podium to help you with the time. As long as that's green, you know you got 2.5 minutes or more. When it turns yellow, that means you got less than 30 seconds. And when it's flashing red, I'm going to interrupt you, not trying to be rude, but trying to be fair to all of our speakers. And I ask that all of our speakers please adhere to the 3-minute timeline. I also ask that if there's a spokesperson for a group, that you speak for the entire group and reduce repetitive comments. And I thank everyone in the audience for understanding that this is a business meeting. Please do not applaud, make remarks from your seats, or anything else that may distract from your meeting, from this meeting. And I'll open up at this time Public Speaks Out, as I said, to anyone who would like to speak on a topic that is not a public hearing, and I would invite the first speaker forward. Anyone for Public Speaks Out? Seeing no, we got one?
I don't have an agenda, so I'm not quite clear that the topics that are listed on the television, are those topics that you're open to hearing about now, or those are to wait until later?
Those are public hearings.
Okay, so they'll be later in the meeting.
Right.
All right, thank you.
Okay, I'm going to close Public Speaks Out. We're going to move to our consent agenda item. We're now at item 4. For the benefit of people watching our meeting on TV, I'm going to take a moment to review our consent agenda items. Please keep in mind that one vote approves all of these items. On the consent agenda, we have minutes, ratification of resolution for Friars Gate Phase 5 modification, resolution to authorize the use of series bond proceeds, resolution to authorize the appointment of a successor remarking agent, continuation of Soccer Park lease agreement, John Edward Orem annexation, Clean Fuel Advanced Technology Grant, salary, grade, and title change. And at this time, I would ask council members if they'd like to pull any of these items off the consent agenda for discussion. If not, I would entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
There's a motion and a second. Discussion. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. And that takes us to public hearings. Same rules apply for public hearings that apply for Public Speaks Out, with one exception. Instead of 3 minutes, you now get 5 minutes. And our first public hearing is on the annexation petition 15A28. Stephen Douglas, the property owner, and the town residents may speak at this public hearing. Mr. Nicholas of our staff will present the item before we open it to the public hearing, and council may take action this evening. Mr. Nicholas.
Thank you. Good evening, council. This request is for annexation of 4.2 acres of property located at 211 Brookridge Drive, approximately 3,300 feet northwest of the Penny Road and Brookridge Drive intersection. The property is in Cary's ETJ and is zoned residential 40. The request is associated with Site Plan 16 SP003, which is for a proposed stealth telecommunications tower. That concludes the presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Nicholas. Now's the time for public hearing 15A28, and I'll open that public hearing and invite the first speaker forward. Anyone speaking at this public hearing? If not, I'll close the public hearing, open it up to council for comments, questions, or a motion.
Make a motion to approve annexation 15A28.
A second.
There's a motion and a second. Discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. We now move to our second public hearing. Owner-initiated annexation petition 15A29, Sarah Vio Jones Trust, The property owners and town residents may speak at this public hearing. And once again, Mr. Nicholas of our staff will present the item. We're going to open the public hearing, and action on this item will be taken at a future meeting. Mr. Nicholas.
Thank you. This request is for annexation of 10.4 acres located at 6209 and 6125 Holly Springs Road, approximately 1,300 feet south of the Holly Springs Road and Tryon Road intersection. The request also includes 0.38 acres of adjacent right-of-way. The property is in Cary's ETJ and it's zoned mixed use. Request is associated with subdivision plan 16 SB 001, which proposes a total of 53 lots for townhomes.
Thank you, Mr. Nicholas. Now's the time for public hearing for annexation request 15829, and I would invite our first speaker forward. Anyone to speak at this public hearing? Seeing no one, I'll close the public hearing, and as I mentioned earlier, this will come back to us at a future meeting. We're not making a motion on this one this evening. We're now going to move to our next public hearing, item 5.3. It's the fiscal year 2017 Community Development Block Grant, CDBG, Annual Action Plan. Mr. Smith will introduce the item, then we're going to open the public hearing. There's no action required at tonight's meeting. Mr. Smith.
Good evening, Council. Tonight's public hearing is the start of our annual process to adopt the Annual Action Plan. The Annual Action Plan details how we will spend our Community Development Block Grant in the coming year. We're going to receive $556,000 for this next year, which is the highest grant we've ever received in the 13-year history of the program. The purpose of tonight's hearing is to hear from the community about community development needs and how they would like to see these funds spent. As you mentioned, there's no action required from you tonight. We will return on April 14th with the staff's recommendations on which projects to fund, which you may modify or adopt at that time. And then on April 28th, we'll bring back the plan with those projects in it for the final adoption. We have to submit the plan to HUD by May 15th. And with that, I'll let you open the public hearing, and I'll be happy to answer any questions afterwards.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. We're now going to open the public hearing for the CDBG Annual Action Plan, and I would invite our first speaker forward.
Good afternoon, Council. My name is Howard Manning. I'm here tonight representing Dorcas Ministries, and I'd like to cover two items. Number one, let you get an update on your return on the investment that you have made for Dorcas over the past years, and tell you a little bit about our request for this year. If you're aware, you helped us and partnered with us in 2011 to move into what was Cary Plaza, but what is now Dorcas Plaza. So since 2011, thanks to your partnership, we generate a lot of our funds ourselves. That fund has went up 103% in the last 3 years. You also know that we're about the business of helping those who we consider as being the least among us, and we certainly appreciate your support in that area. Since 2011, the number of clients that we've served has increased by 91%, and the number of funds that we have distributed in direct relief has increased by 125%. So over the past 3 years, that's just a few of the things that we've done for upward indicators. Now, this is an indicator that's went down. When we purchased Cary Plaza and renovated it, we had a $4.4 million debt in 2011. I'm proud to say that today that debt is less than $1.5 million, and by 2018, at the end of that year, we will be debt-free. So we've tried to be very good stewards of the funds that you've allocated and partnered with us. Now, also, one of the things that we've done in 2015 is we started the emergency housing program. And you may find this pretty hard to believe, but last year we prevented 34 families in Cary that were imminently going to become homeless or were already homeless. And when I say already homeless, maybe sleeping in cars, or maybe partnering with families for shelter. We had a 89% success rate. 30 of those families became stable. And by our measure of success, we meant they became stable in housing for 6 months, not the normally 30 to 60-day measure that some agencies use. So again, we thought that was a pretty good accomplishment with your help. This year, we requested CDBG funds to purchase a parcel of land that adjoins High House Road. It's right in front of what is now Dorcas Plaza. We want to take that acre of land, and number one, we wanted to use it to help us generate even more funds ourselves. We think that with some professional help, we can take the 8 acres that the Cary Plaza, Dorcas Plaza now sits on, and that 1 acre, and increase our revenue by maybe even more than another 100%. We want to focus on job creation. We've had really good success over the last few years in not just addressing our clients' crisis needs, but helping them become self-sufficient. In so many words, we tell them when you come, let us help you, and we don't want to see you again. Not because we don't want to help you, but we don't want that need to be there. We want that need to go away. So we've been doing job readiness, and now we want to really focus on apprenticeships and job creations. We also want to continue to enhance our philosophy that we had in mind when we purchased Dorcas Plaza, and that is partnerships with other nonprofits and other agencies. Right now, we house a Habitat for Humanity Restore. We house Read and Feed. We house the Triangle Aphasia Project, which is a speech therapist that helps stroke and trauma victims connect the thoughts of the brains with the vocal cords. We house the Triangolano Club. We have a preschool. And we also right now have a medical clinic that is under construction. Construction scheduled to be completed by June 30th. It will be manned and staffed by Advanced Community Health to service low and moderate income health needs in the area. We also partner with UNC. We have their mobile bus that's called the Tar Healer that comes twice a month and focuses on chronic health management. And we're not just doing this willy-nilly. We're using racial engineering along with some professional help, we hope, from the town of Cary's planning staff to see how we can best utilize our assets over the next 10 to 20 years, not just to serve Dorcas, but to serve this entire community. So I hope that you'll take a really close look at our application this year. If you have any questions, come by, give me a call. We love you. If you have not had the red carpet tour, stop by 187 High House Road and let us show you how we make the quality of life better for everybody. Thank you so much. Appreciate your time.
Thank you, Mr. Manning. Next speaker, please, for this public hearing. Reverend Tyner, it's good to see you.
Good evening, Councilman, Councilwoman. I come tonight to just say one thing. Thank you, folks, for helping us do what we do. There's so much that we do. We've given you the fact sheet, displaying to you all the kinds of things that we do at White Oak Foundation. All of you know we're in the area that's growing the fastest in Wake County. If you haven't been by there lately, come back, because they got us all torn up. The White Oak Baptist Church and the White Oak Foundation have made all kinds of concessions to the Wake County schools because we know that we need more schools. But along with all of that, I want you to know that we are about the business of servicing, helping people. Cary, there is no one in Cary that is in need of food because we are the people who provide it 7 days a week. There is no person in the town of Cary can say that because of hardship that we're not able to pay our utility bills because we stand in the community because of your help to help those who are desperate in need of making sure that those needs are taken care of. Ladies and gentlemen, I just left Washington, D.C., and White Oak Foundation recognized by the National Housing, Affordable Housing Association because of our help with people in the town of Cary, preventing them from foreclosure. We have the foreclosure program given to us by the North Carolina Housing, which administered the HUD funds, and you will be surprised in the town of Cary how many people have run into crisis about keeping their homes. The statistics are on your sheet. We have 2 people certified by HUD to take care of those needs. Not only that, our summer program, Wake County Schools have recognized us. As all of you know, not only am I a preacher, I'm a retired educator. I believe in education. That's why the school is there. I called Ms. Parker with Wake County Schools and said, Ms. Parker, we need another school out here, and we want to be involved. We want to help you. That's why the school is called White Oak Elementary School, because it's on White Oak Church Road, and because it's White Oak Baptist Church, and because it's White Oak Foundation. And our funding that we're asking for is just to help us to do even a better job. Right now, we're running out of space, and we'll be coming back to you, and you'll hear about it later. You already know about it. We plan to build a building, a resource center. And the only reason we haven't built that building is because we made concession to the school system. We had to move our building so the school system would have entrance into its school and exit. We are asking you to continue to help us as we help people. And if there are any needs in Cary, you don't have to send them anywhere. You can send them to us. We are your service organization, and we're out to make Cary a better place for everybody to live. The facts are before you. I need not to go through those. I got to go preach. Have a good night.
Thank you, Reverend Tyner. Next speaker for this public hearing. Anyone else to speak at this public hearing?
Well, good evening, Mayor Weinbrecht and Town Council. I'm John Thoma, the CEO of Transitions Life Care. Transitions Life Care was founded Hospice of Wake County in 1979, and we are the largest nonprofit provider of hospice and palliative care in the region. We have submitted 2 proposals for funding from the Community Development Block Grant. The first is a $30,000 request for the palliative care program. Transitions Palliative Care serves the community by managing advanced illness and providing relief to patients from pain and suffering. Funds from the block grant will be used to cover the program costs for low and moderate income residents in Cary, primarily seniors facing serious or terminal illness. Also, we are submitting a proposal, a request for $50,000 from the block grant to support upgrades and improvements to the 6 residential rooms in our agency's hospice home on Trinity Road. These rooms were built originally in part with community development block grants from Cary from 2009 through 2011, and they are dedicated to and reserved for low and moderate income residents facing serious or terminal illness. An overview of services we provide at Transitions Life Care include hospice care provided in the community, in individuals' homes or in nursing homes. Hospice care is also provided in the hospitals, including Wake Med Cary. Hospice care is provided in the 20-bed facility in Wake County, the first and only hospice facility in Wake County. Palliative care services are provided in homes or in nursing homes. Palliative care is also provided in the hospitals, including Wake Med Cary. We provide home health care, serving households throughout Wake County. We also provide caregiver supportive care, grief counseling and grief support groups, and a vast array of educational programs, both professional and non-professional. In 2015, admissions to hospice increased 23%, and admissions to palliative care increased 31%. In total, in 2015, we served over 5,200 patients and over 12,000 family members and caregivers. One of the reasons for this dramatic increase in patients served is population growth, with the fastest growing segment being the population over 65 years of age. According to the Town of Cary's population growth trends report that was published in 2013, residents over 65 in Cary increased from 5.4% of the population in 2000 to 10% of the population in 2011, and we are sure that that will increase each year and can reach 20% of the population by 2025. In 2015, Transitions Life Care served a total of 969 Cary residents across our programs. Of those, 32%, or 313 Cary residents, were served in the palliative care program. Of those 313 palliative care patients, 47 were low and moderate income residents, receiving all of their services at no charge. There was a total cost of unreimbursed cost to Transitions of $35,000. Projections for 2016-2017 indicate that approximately 55 Cary residents that are indigent or medically indigent will need end-of-life care through palliative care at a total cost of over $40,000. So we are asking for $30,000 in support from the block grant, and those funds will be used to serve an estimated 55 low to moderate income Cary residents, leverage additional philanthropic support to cover program expenses, and continue collaborations with other community agencies. So just want to quickly answer the question of what is palliative care. Transitions palliative care focuses on relieving symptoms such as pain and anxiety to help people enjoy a normal and dignified quality of life. Palliative care is a patient and family.
Sorry to have to interrupt you, but you're
come down to a stop.
Inspired.
Okay. Well, thank you. Be glad to provide more education on what is palliative care. Just summarize with our second request.
You may leave any comments with the clerk, but it's fair to all of our speakers if I let you continue.
Okay.
So I'm sorry.
No, thank you very much.
Sure.
I appreciate your time and appreciate your support.
Okay. Thank you very much. Next speaker for this public hearing. Anyone else for this public hearing? Anyone at all?
I brought my own box. I don't know about the mail about this. So let's go.
Good evening. Thank you very much for inviting us to share our ideas and plan for the community. This is for the DBCG grant, annual grant. First of all, I would like to thank the council again.
Could you give us your name for the record?
Oh, yeah, sorry. I beg your pardon. There are three things. My name is Cary Pancholi. I'm here, Cary resident for the last 20 years. I've been very happy, and I'm very, very happy about the council, the work I see and work I do. Today I'm here on behalf of the... Well, first of all, I want you to give 15 minutes because I'm going to save 3 minutes of mine If you look at the picture right in front of you, and it says VASH. And today I'm going to speak about the veterans. When we go home today, supposing you do not have a home, just before you start your car and think for a second that there is no home for me to go. People who, our men and women in uniform, they go to war, they get killed, they don't come back. They sacrifice their lives so we live. They sacrifice everything so we prosper, which is hard to understand. So I'm going to give a little bit of history. Since 1945, 60 years ago, we are too late. VA problem is not Cary problem. VA problem is not a state problem. VA problem is a national problem. We may be the strongest army in the world. We may be the strongest in the economy. But I think we have really been not nice to the veterans. The reason why I'm saying we're too nice to them, because there are 91 homeless veterans tonight will be sleeping under the tree, or in the open park, or under the beautiful ark that we have created, we have in our town. They have no home. Here is the proof. One of your hardest working council member and their staff, on 14th of March, we went to Cary because Board of Commissioners for the affordable housing asked for the meeting. The council member was there. She was so wonderful. She explained our program to them. And the Board of Council member, the Board of Commissioners said, we need housing for these veterans. I was there with my family. Now you may say, why you were there? What you have to do? I'm not a builder. I'm not a rich man. We have richest man in our country, one of the richest men in our town. We have powerful council. We have money. The problem is, do you feel it? Do you feel the pain and the suffering of these people? If you can't measure it, you cannot cut it. If you have not slept under the open sky with the freezing rain, you will never understand that. Now, what can we do? So the VASH is looking for 91 houses for last 5 years. Now, there are 2,600 landlords in this county. There are 58,500 apartments in our town, and still they don't have the house. You may wonder why nobody wants to rent them. Nobody wants to rent them because it's not the rent. It is the total commitment to them that you have to be with them. They have to be served 24/7. They have to be taken care of them. That is why nobody gives them a house. And they are just what they are veterans. So my appeal, I'm a lone ranger. There's nobody with me. But I'm sure I have come empty-handed in this council, but I'll go with my hope in my heart that somebody will understand the pain and suffering of these people. And I can give you one of the examples here. There are not 91,000 homeless. There are 700 homeless veterans in the state. There are 7,000 homeless in the country. And there are 700,000 veterans behind the bars. Which part is hard to understand? That fabric of our society is totally torn. Dear Council, I want you to give a very, very special attention to this problem of our society. How would you feel if our citizens sleeping next to in the park or wherever they are? How would you feel it? Unless and until Helen Keller said, there are beautiful human things which you cannot see, you cannot touch, but you can feel it. When you go home tonight, when you start your car, I want you to just for a second think.
Mr. Pincholi, I'm sorry.
Thank you so much, and I hope there is no amount, whatever you can give. So time is critical. Time is very critical. Then there was no better time than this. So there is no amount required. Thank you much. Whatever you give is the best. And the project is ready. I'm going to build 11 apartments for the veterans, homeless veterans. Thank you.
Next speaker for this public hearing. Anyone at all for this public hearing? I see no one, so I'll close the public hearing and we'll move to our next public hearing, which is item 5.4. Actually, the next two items will be heard together, So Horvanian and Lily Orchard LLC annexation and open space. Ms. Grannon will present the information for both items. The applicant will have the opportunity to explain the request, and then we will conduct a public hearing. Council will not take action on this annexation tonight. We're going to refer this request to our Planning and Zoning Advisory Board. Both items will come back to Council at a future meeting. Ms. Grannon.
Thank you. Good evening. For your consideration is a request for a rezoning and annexation for a very small portion of property, 0.12 acres, located here east of Stevenson Road. The property is currently vacant. This is the annexation portion, the 0.12 acres. It does not include any right-of-way. Properties here highlighted in yellow. As I mentioned, it is vacant. It's adjacent to a development plan. No impacts to Cary's Parks, Recreation, and Facilities Master Plan. It has no road frontage on Stevens Road. It's south of Lily Orchard Road, which is under construction. Future transit route on 1010 Road to the north. And this is an important slide. This shows you that the site is impacted, according to our GIS maps, by a stream buffer. Land use plan designation is low-density residential. The existing zoning is Wake County, R30. As I mentioned, it's immediately adjacent to a recent development project, the Lily Orchard subdivision, which is zoned R8, conditional use. Because the subject property is completely within a stream buffer area and no development is proposed, the zoning that's being requested is resource recreation, which would allow it to remain open space and doesn't require it to have a conditional use zoning associated with the property. It was shown on the development plan as proposed open space and just needs to go through the annexation and carry zoning so that it can continue to count toward the open space of this subdivision. Property owners were notified. The property was posted. We only had one phone call. There was no road frontage to post the property, so we had to post it at the entrance to the neighborhood. And one neighbor just called to make sure, that they knew what was going on. This concludes staff's presentation. Following the public hearing, I'll be happy to answer any questions you have.
My notes had that an applicant would be here to explain the request. Was that you? Or
I have not seen the applicant tonight. I'm not sure if the applicant is here.
Okay.
I think it was such a simple request, they felt like maybe staff could cover it.
Okay, very good. I'll now open the public hearing for items 5.4 and 5.5, the annexation 15A27 and the rezoning 16 REZ06, and I would invite our first speaker forward. Anyone to speak at this public hearing? Seeing no one, we'll close the public hearing, and this will be referred to our Planning and Zoning Board, and it will come back to us at a future meeting. We now move to item 5.6. It's the Sears Stone Phase 3 PDD amendment. Ms. Grannon of our staff will present the information, and the applicant will have the opportunity to explain the request. We will conduct a public hearing. We will not take action tonight. We will refer this to our Planning and Zoning Advisory Board for consideration. They will make a recommendation that will come back to us at a future meeting, and a decision will be made at that point. Ms. Grannon.
Thank you. This is a request for a portion of the Sears Stone Plan Development District, Phase 3, which is located on approximately 17.59 acres. Subject property is shown here, highlighted in yellow, on the south side of High House Road. Zoomed-in view shows that some of the infrastructure has been installed with the roadways, but the property is vacant with the exception of one detached residential home that will eventually be converted to part of the retirement community. And here's a closer view of the subject property. The site is impacted, according to Cary's most recent GIS maps, by a stream buffer, and field determination will be required at the time of the development plan review. There is a proposed multi-purpose trail located along High House Road. High House Road is a thoroughfare, and there is an existing C-Tran route along High House Road. Cary's land use plan designation for the subject property is a combination of open space, office, residential, and medium and low-density residential. The existing zoning is planned development district. The Searstone PDD originated many years ago, as you know. The most recent amendment occurred in 2008. It was a two-part planned development district that included a retail or commercial village and also a continuing care retirement community. It was broken into different phases. This rezoning before you tonight is for the Phase 3 portion of the continuing care retirement community. The original PDD designated that property as also being eligible for active adult or age-restricted housing, so it did not have to comply with all the rules and regulations that go into a CCRC in terms of some of the services that it provided. It could consist of independent living, apartments, condominiums, things of that nature. The reason why the plan is before you is there was a relatively significant change in the style of the housing product that was presented on earlier versions of the plan. What's being proposed now is more of a multi-family residential style. It's a series of 3 buildings, each with 8 dwelling units, and the applicant is also proposing to add 2 neighborhood recreation buildings to the site. So it's a configuration change in the way the buildings were represented in an earlier version of the plan. Instead of the duplex style houses that were shown or the cottages that were shown, this is more of multi-family product type. So that's why the preliminary development plan is before you. There's no increase to the proposed number of dwelling units. It would replace 48 cluster style or estate home style homes with the multifamily units, 6 structures, 8 dwelling units per structure, and then the 2 neighborhood recreation buildings. One building would be a 1-story building with a maximum of 2,500 square feet, and then there would be a 2-story building with 2,500 square feet maximum per floor. This is a colored-in version of the preliminary development plan to give you an idea of the massing of where the buildings would be located. The purple shows where the recreation buildings would be located, and then the 6 multifamily units. We also wanted to point out a slight change that occurred since the last time you saw this plan in 2008. What had been a sidewalk or pedestrian trail along High House Road, our current Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Resources Master Plan now calls for a meandering trail. So we just wanted to bring this to your attention because the streetscape had been reduced previously. Back when this was first presented in 2002, the streetscape was reduced to just a 30-foot streetscape. With that slight meander in that street side trail, there's still going to be a requirement for that streetscape with the trail in it. So it's just important to realize that it makes it a little bit challenging to get the full opacity that you might get in a traditional 50-foot streetscape. Also pointing out the location of an existing BMP on the site, bringing it to your attention that no building is proposed to take place in this area and no impacts to the stream buffer that's been identified on the property. But because of the nature of the BMP and the dam that's associated with it, there is not sufficient room to put a 50-foot street perimeter buffer along this portion of the property. So we want that documented with any revisions to the plan so that there's no zoning violation as this goes forward. Property owners within 800 feet of the entire property were notified. That was the entire PDD. When the plan was first submitted, we did not have complete certainty about which areas were going to be part of the rezoning application, so we notified the full boundary area. And just again to let you know, this is the only portion of the Searstone PDD that's been impacted by the proposed changes. So this concludes staff's presentation. And following the applicant's comments, I'll be available for your questions.
This time I'd invite the applicant forward for an explanation of their proposal.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. Jason Barron with Morningstar Law Group here on behalf of the applicant. As always, Deborah has done a great job of covering the nature of the changes that are proposed associated with this request. We just want to provide a little bit of big picture on the why. Why is this request being made? And there's two primary reasons. The first is this provides for a more affordable opportunity in Searstone. It will allow for some of the costs associated with what right now could be perceived as a barrier to entry to a lot of folks. It will allow for the cost to be a little bit more affordable. And second, it responds to demands in the marketplace. There is a market for what I think is called condominium style senior living opportunities, and this falls into that. This will ultimately end up, it's considered multifamily for purposes of the ordinance. This is going to be a for sale product. I mean, they're still going to be selling the units. They're not going to be rentals. It's just that it's considered multifamily. As Deborah mentioned, there are 6 buildings. There's 8 units in each building. There, as she mentioned, there's not an increase in overall development density associated with the plan. It's, again, just changing out what previously were considered duplexes to now a multifamily to meet the market and add some affordability. What hasn't been shown, in addition to the recreation facilities are designed as an accommodation to people who are living there. It provides opportunities for meeting space for the residents who will be living in the CCRC portion of Searstone. This is a water feature. It doesn't do a very good job because we didn't color it in, but there's this central area is a water feature that's internal to the site. So as you all are aware, the developers of Searstone have been very thoughtful and very deliberate about providing for age-in-place opportunities for residents in Cary, and this is essentially the next step in that process. So again, from a why standpoint, it's affordability, and it's responding to the current market demand for these type of opportunities. And one of the things, again, that's not depicted here is the parking. There's parking under these buildings, and that's very attractive to the marketplace. They are elevators. So, folks can park under the building. They're not in the elements, and they're taking the elevators up. So, again, it's just trying to keep pace with what the current market demand is for these type of developments. So, with respect to the streetscape, I just want to reiterate something that Deborah touched on, but I think it's important. There's not an additional request to reduce the width of the streetscape. The streetscape remains at 30 feet. So I think that is important as the council considers this case as it moves forward through the process. We're not seeking to do anything different than what was otherwise planned with respect to the streetscape itself. So that is essentially, from a big picture standpoint, why we are before you tonight on this public hearing. We look forward to continuing the process with P&Z and ultimately coming back to you all, and we hope that you will support us at that time. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Barron. This time we're going to open the public hearing for Searstone Phase 3 PDD Amendment 15 REZ 25, and I would invite our first speaker forward. Anyone speaking at this public hearing? Seeing no one, I'll close public hearing, and we're going to refer this to our Planning and Zoning Board for their recommendation. We now move to item 5.7. It's the North Woods at Reedy Creek PDD Amendment. Ms. Grannon will once again present the item. The applicant will have an opportunity to explain the request. We'll have a public hearing. Council will not take action on this item tonight. Instead, we're going to refer it to the Planning and Zoning Board for their recommendation and consideration. It will come back to us at a future date. Ms. Grannon.
Thank you. This is a request for a parcel of land located at 950 Northeast Maynard Road on 1.93 acres. Subject property is shown here, highlighted in yellow. Property is currently vacant, and a close-up view shows the parcel in relation to the Reedy Creek Plaza Shopping Center. This is the Food Lion at Reedy Creek Plaza. So Reedy Creek Road, as you know, splits into 2 separate segments along this portion of Maynard Road. According to Cary's most recent GIS maps, the site is not impacted by any stream buffers or floodways. There is a proposed future multi-use trail in close proximity to the site, but no other impacts to our Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Resources Facilities Master Plan. Northeast Maynard Road is a major thoroughfare, and there is an existing C-Tran route located along this road. The land use plan designation for the property is office and institutional. The existing zoning is Planned Development District Major, PDD. The Northwoods PDD was originated in 1982. The subject property was designated at that time as being a non-residential or commercial tract with an emphasis on commercial and office use. So the subject property lies in this general vicinity. So the note on the plan states that the emphasis would be on O&I uses with a modest percentage of commercial uses. The proposed preliminary development plan is for a vehicular service station and convenience store. This preliminary development plan shows the location of the convenience store and then the gas pumps in this vicinity here. The plan proposes a streetscape, 30-foot streetscape along Reedy Creek Road, and seeks a reduction to Town of Cary standards for the streetscape along Northeast Maynard Road. A 15-foot streetscape is proposed along Northeast Maynard Road. There is a proposal for a maximum of 7,000 square feet of retail sales and service. As I mentioned, the vehicular filling station and convenience store is what's proposed, and then the reduction to the streetscape on Maynard and a standard streetscape on Reedy Creek. Property owners within 800 feet of the subject property were notified. Staff has heard a number of concerns from adjacent property owners. Number one concern being traffic impacts. A traffic impact analysis was conducted. The applicant at this time has not offered any traffic mitigations, but there are road improvements associated with the plan that are would be required. There is the buffer reduction that was shown, the 15-foot buffer reduction along the streetscape on Maynard Road, and then concerns from citizens just regarding the visual impact of a service station. This concludes staff's presentation. Following the applicant's comments and the public hearing, I'll be available for your questions.
Thank you, Ms. Grant. At this time, I would invite the applicant forward for their explanation of their requests.
Good evening. Again, Mr. Mayor, members of the council, Jason Barron with Morningstar Law Group here on behalf of this applicant. Deborah's done a great job, once again, explaining the nature of the request. I want to touch a little bit, again, on the why, because I think it's important for you all to understand why a change from office to a retail use, we believe, makes sense for this particular site. The first is it's a 1.93 acre site surrounded on all sides by roads. Now, granted, one of those is a street that's internal to a shopping center, but at 1.93 acres, there's not a whole lot you can do for a meaningful office and institutional use. So we believe that office isn't really a viable option for this site. And on the retail side, while we think retail makes a lot of sense, when Reedy Creek was realigned to tee in at this location rather than through, this is where it originally came. I mean, it altered some, but essentially Reedy Creek used to come up through here and plug into Reedy Creek. When it realigned, it essentially made this site look, feel, and act like a retail out parcel, whereas it might not have originally been intended to serve as a retail out parcel. As you all are familiar, there's a Food Lion shopping center adjacent to the site, and so what used to be a public street is now a private street that's owned by the shopping center. It's maintained by the shopping center, and that's something that my client has been working with the shopping center in terms of working out maintenance responsibilities. But that kind of underscores how this site, it kind of acts and feels like more of a retail out parcel than it does your typical office and institution type site. So from a use standpoint, again, we don't think office is viable and ever is going to be viable at this location, at least not in a meaningful way. My guess would be it would continue to be designated office and undeveloped for an extended period of time, especially with where the office market is trending. And we think retail at this location, because it's adjacent to a Food Lion, it makes a lot of sense. It's not a significant change in the overall landscape in terms of what's already there. As Deborah mentioned, what's in particular is proposed is a convenience store. essentially. It's an attractive option for my client at this location. There's a lot of traffic that's already on Maynard Road at this location. You know, in terms of the PM motorist who's coming from the Harrison Avenue direction in the afternoon and coming towards Chapel Hill Road, if you're coming down Harrison, once you clear the gas station up closer to Interstate 40, there isn't another gas station heading in this direction that you can take a right-hand turn into for an extended period of time. And so, as you all are aware, convenience stores are convenience stores. You know, they're stores that present convenient opportunities, and my clients view this as a great opportunity to capture traffic that's already on the street network, people who are already passing by who can take a right in, get what they need, and then go on their way as part of the commuting process. In terms of traffic, I understand that there have been concerns raised. You know, we had our neighborhood meeting. There were concerns raised about traffic. We have performed a traffic study. I do want to clarify one thing. If you review the staff report, and you don't need to turn there now, but there are essentially two recommendations that came out of the staff report or out of the traffic impact analysis that we performed. One of them, the staff recognizes, is not feasible, that NCDOT would never permit that improvement to be made. The second one is something we're doing. Yeah, it's essentially a frontage improvement, so it's not something we would offer a condition for because it's going to be required at the time of site plan. So I just do want to clarify that we haven't offered any conditions because one of them we can't offer a condition to, and the second one, if we offer a condition, we would never be able to get built because it's a high likelihood that DOT would never approve it, and that again is reflected in you all's staff report. With that said, and you know, there are two mitigations. We're doing the one that we can. We're continuing to study traffic in this area. We've heard enough, primarily safety concerns, and I don't think what we're adding to the grid network is going to be significant. I think the traffic study says that we're less than 2% of the traffic at these intersections at build out. But I think importantly, you know, my clients are concerned about safety not only for the folks who are entering their site, but for everybody in general. So we're continuing to work on that, and we'll continue to work with the town's transportation staff to make sure that as this site develops, whatever happens is not going to present a health, safety, and welfare concern for the town. So we are well aware of those concerns. With respect to the streetscape reduction, due to configuration of the site, and again, it's a tricky site. You know, you've got Reedy Creek, you've got Maynard, and then you've got the drive aisle here. It's tough. You know, less than 2 acre site, it's tough to do anything real meaningful. I do want to point out, while we are seeking a streetscape reduction from 30 feet to 15 feet, we're not seeking to alter the planting requirements. So the same opacity that is required is essentially just going to be put into a smaller space. And we have confirmed with our landscape architects that we can achieve the same opacity even at 15 feet of width rather than 30 feet of width. So it's the same number of trees. It's the same number of upper story and mid-story trees. It's just in a more compressed width of area. And then the final point I want to make, I know there have been concerns with respect to lighting, and we're looking at that. We're obviously going to comply with the town's requirements. The concern that we've received related to lighting has been from the neighborhood across the street from us. As you all are aware, Maynard it's a wide section at that point. We're confident that there's not going to be any spillover lighting at a minimum because it's just it would be virtually impossible for us to put the type of lighting on our site and have spillover onto that, you know, going across more than 100 foot of right of way onto their site. All of the town requires the full cutoff design for the lights so that the source of light can't be seen. But we're continuing to study options to buffer our use from the neighbors. We don't believe at this time, based on what we've seen, and we're continuing to look at it because we are moving forward with a site plan as well to make sure there's not going to be an issue. But what we have seen, we're not concerned. But we're looking at it. We don't believe there's going to be a concern about visibility of the lights associated with our use. So, again, Mr. Mayor, members of the council, we're continuing to work on this case, continuing to study it to make sure it's not going to be a bad neighbor. My client wants to be a good neighbor to the folks who are there, and we hope by the time we come back to you all, it will be a case that you all can support. Thank you.
Ms. Barrett. Now it's time for the public hearing for Northwoods at Reedy Creek PDD Amendment 15 REZ 28, and I would invite our first speaker forward.
Good evening, Mayor Weinbrecht, members of the Town Council. My name is Aggie Langen, a resident of Ardmore at Reedy Creek. I oppose rezoning Reedy Creek Square to accommodate a Sheetz 24-hour convenience store and gas station. 3 primary questions to think about. How does this request satisfy the town mission statement? Does Cary really need another convenience store and gas station? How will a convenience store gas station affect the quality of life in Cary? The town of Cary has a powerful mission statement. It clearly states, we focus every day on enriching the lives of our citizens by creating an exceptional environment and providing exemplary services that enable our community to thrive and prosper. This mission statement should be a guiding principle for all decisions and cannot be simple rhetoric. For the town to continually espouse exceptional values and high-quality living, a Sheetz gas station at that location should never even be a consideration. The Reedy Creek Square is surrounded by residential communities. A gas station will have a negative impact on the character and dynamics of the area. Right now, these residential neighborhoods are tranquil, quiet, peaceful, and great homes in which to live. I realize that Reedy Creek Square has had a recent decrease in occupancy and wish it were a vibrant and fully operating shopping center. Solid retail businesses are definitely needed, but Reedy Creek Square can certainly do much better in recruiting a future tenant. We already have 5 similar convenience stores, gas stations within a mile of Ardmore. During the applicant neighborhood meeting, Sheetz fashioned a glowing portrayal of themselves and offered few legitimate answers to address citizens' concerns. The attorney addressed a primary question about increased traffic by stating, we have completed a comprehensive traffic study and no changes will be made to current traffic patterns until some accidents occur. That's a direct quote. There were no answers to basic concerns because the nature of their business contradicts residential living. Citizens also mentioned inadequate traffic signals, the reduced buffer, cutting down a half-dozen established trees, bright lighting, high-level noise and music, 24-hour operation, opportunity for crime, environmental issues, and overall aesthetics. Sheetz reviewed these concerns for 2 weeks and made absolutely no changes to their application. I reviewed the staff report and council notes and came to several conclusions, but one very alarming statistic. The most damaging statistics were produced by the traffic analysis report and directly impacts driver safety. Sheetz will bring an increase of 6,511 site trips per day with 200 trips during peak hours. Add to this equation the intersection at Maynard Road and Medfield Drive. It's currently graded as substandard, and there are no plans to upgrade the condition of this intersection. This additional traffic volume will increase the likelihood of accidents. Further conclusions were, the gas station is actually squeezed into a space too small, which creates a reduction in the buffers and streetscape, nothing like the buffers that we see along Harrison. The gas station will not complement the existing landscape, with the overbearing red and brick structure dominating the intersection and large refueling trucks coming and going. The gas station will not provide harmony and unity to the residential areas. In fact, it will devalue the Northwoods area and decrease home value. The gas station will have a negative impact on the natural environment with air quality, odor, noise, lights, litter, and unknown carcinogens. The gas station will be open 24 hours per day, which possibly attracts transients, encourages loitering, and selling beer and wine late at night. In summary, a Sheetz at this location would be detrimental to the surrounding residential communities, and the request to rezone Reedy Creek Square for a gas station should be denied. Thank you so much for your attention.
Thank you. Next speaker, please. Please don't. No applause or comments. Yes, ma'am.
Good evening, council members, and thank you for this opportunity to speak before you. The speaker before me was very eloquent in her points. A couple of mine may be redundant, but I hope to make some additional points as well. I'm Dr. Valerie Spiva Collins. I'm a resident in the Davidson Point townhomes off of Reedy Creek Road. And I am gravely concerned as well about this planned or proposed change to the zoning of the area. I live, along with my neighbors, within 800 feet of the proposed gas station. There are 3 established housing developments very close to the site: Davidson Point, Ardmore, and a large community of single-family homes that have been in the area over 20 years. And we are mostly owners and do not have an easy option to move should this building come into the area. So we're not renters who could leave at the end of a 12-month lease. Why are we concerned? I think the evidence is well established that there's increased crime often around convenience stores. This increase is due to many reasons. The small number of employees that are usually in these businesses late at night hinders the ability to watch the area and prevent crime from occurring. The extended hours, we've heard there will be a 24-hour store and gas station in this location. Most or many purchases are in cash, making the business vulnerable to armed robbery and burglary. There's a register often near the front door, making for easy entry and exit of criminals who want to steal. And there's easily resold merchandise like alcohol, beer, wine, cigarettes, and lottery tickets, making the site vulnerable to crime as well. Not only is the potential crime increase a concern, but traffic congestion is also a concern. This is a tight area. The area already has traffic issues with residents coming out of the opposite sides of Reedy Creek and from the Ardmore community. I think that our property values would decrease, as the previous speaker mentioned. And I do want to respond, to the need. I know your decision has to partly be based on the need in Cary for additional gas stations. Less than half a mile from this location is an Exxon gas station. Less than 1 mile is a gas station on Chapel Hill Road. And 1 mile away is a third gas station and convenience store on Harrison Avenue. So I think the area is already well supported by gas and convenience stations. I strongly request you vote no and not allow this rezoning. This is so important to the residents there and our quality of life in Cary. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
I'm not as well prepared as the 2 previous speakers. My name is Al Bethke. I live in the Reedy Creek subdivision within 800 feet of the proposed building. I have the same concerns as the previous speakers. I have a little different statistic about gas stations. There are 9 gas stations within 2 miles. One of those is a Sheetz gas station. I'm very concerned about the traffic. I think that's the major issue for this location. The intersection at Reedy Creek and Maynard Road, which does not have a traffic light. There are 2 intersections of Reedy Creek and Maynard. One has a traffic light, one does not. The one that does not have a light is the normal way that most of us from my subdivision go up to get onto Maynard Road. If you want to turn left there, you have a very long wait. And it's dangerous when you pull out because you cannot see to the right. There's a very slight hill. If you're not experienced, the first time you come up there, you think you can see that it's clear, but there's a car coming that's hidden by the hill. It's a dangerous intersection. During the preliminary planning session where Deborah and the applicant were giving a presentation, they made it clear that they would not be able to put in a traffic light at that intersection. The North Carolina DOT will not allow that. So it's just going to get worse. Something that I think is clear on the plan but hasn't been mentioned, they're adding a lane for right turn in and out of the gas station to Maynard Road, making the road wider, making it a little harder to navigate that intersection. I don't want to just belabor the points they've already made, so thank you for your time.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Mr. Mayor and Council, thank you for allowing me to speak this evening in opposition of the rezoning of the property for Sheets. My name is Judy Vinitsky, and I live in Ardmore at Reedy Creek, right across from the proposed rezoning. I would just like to cover 3 basic points that I think will explain my opposition and that of the Homeowners Association, of which I'm on the board, of the placement of the Sheet store across from our home. First of all, as was already covered, we don't need it. I have a little bit difference in numbers. I counted 10 gas stations within a 2-mile radius, including a Sheetz. And I suspect many of these stations are owned by local business owners, some of which will probably not be able to compete with Sheetz and probably will be out of business in a short time. I'm pretty familiar with Sheetz expansion in the northeast part of this country, and I've observed that. You see a Sheetz go in, and pretty soon you see local gas stations going out of business. My second point, just to echo what the others said, is we just cannot simply handle the traffic. To make a left turn today, we have to cross 3 lanes of traffic in order, and as was said, at the crest of that hill, you simply cannot see traffic coming. The city planner mentioned that if traffic gets too heavy, we could always stop left-hand turns out of Medfield onto Maynard Road. If anybody thinks it's much easier to make a right turn, they ought to come out and visit us. We are crossing 3 lanes of traffic, as well as the traffic coming out from the other side at Reedy Creek. I personally almost got in an accident the other day trying to cross those 3 lanes to reach the light at Medfield and Reedy Creek when someone came out from Medfield without a turn signal and ended up in that far left-hand lane that I did not see. As was mentioned, during heavy traffic periods, much of the traffic is coming from Medfield Estates as well. There's just a block of traffic trying to enter Maynard. I don't believe this intersection can safely handle the thousands of extra vehicles that would be brought here by a Sheet station. My third comment is to you folks representing us in the council. When we purchased our homes, we understood that there would probably be some additional construction across the street based on the zoning. It coexists pretty well with the food line and the stores that are there, and we would like to see it developed better. But I doubt anyone who bought homes ever imagined that the town would consider rezoning the property to allow a high-volume gas station, fast food place to be put there. I doubt that any of you would want a 24-hour high-volume gas station in your backyards, bringing light, noise, and disturbance to their general quality of life. The town often touts the high quality of life when selling the town's advantages. You now have an opportunity to protect ours. You can also protect our lives by ensuring we have an opportunity for a safe traffic exit from our neighborhood. In closing, we look forward to your support in denying this zoning request. We think we deserve better than this. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Mr. Mayor, Town Council, my name is Larry Connor, and I am the owner of 106 Dungarvin Loop. And there's a lot of great points that have been brought up here tonight. I'm one of the fortunate ones that my piece of property will not be affected by the lights and the noise and the visual effects and everything, because my piece of property is as far back into that corner as can be. But I agree 100% that this is just going to be a huge, huge impact to Ardmore at Reedy Creek. I've been involved with Ardmore at Reedy Creek. The original property was owned by my mother, who has since passed. And that piece of property, I saw the first tree brought out. I saw them develop that entire property. I did a lot of research. I looked at this piece of property that is under consideration for the Sheets right now. It was always my understanding that the only way to get to that piece of property and the way it would be zoned, you would not be able to enter or exit off of Maynard Road. The intersection coming out of Medfield Place, which I'll, this is where Ardmore is over in this section here. Coming out of this, and I'm not going to be redundant from the other speakers, taking a left is non-existent. You cannot do it unless you want to take your life in your hands. I just was at the property the other night. You take a right, you come down, you go into the Food Lion parking lot, you make a U-turn, you go back out to Maynard Road. There is no way to make a left there. I know that the traffic study, I've read every inch of the traffic studies, the DOT studies, I've read all of the information that's out there, and I can tell you right now, it amazes me that they would even consider a business that is going to enter and exit off of Maynard Road and 6,500 visits a day. The traffic will not be able to handle it. I've been involved in developments. I've built over 30 country clubs in my life. I've been involved in seeing developments and traffic studies done, and this is going to be a huge error, and I just hope that the town council and the planning board will please review this, because I think this is a huge, huge mistake, and I do not support the rezoning of this piece of property. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please. Anyone else for this public hearing? Seeing no one, we'll close the public hearing and open it up to council members for questions and comments. I have a comment about the two comments that were made about town considering. Please understand that the council has a sworn duty to review all applications, and so does the staff. We're required to review those applications, whether we like them or not. And as far as this application, my personal opinion, they have a huge hurdle. I have to have a compelling reason, and I'm looking for that compelling reason, and as of now, I don't have it. I keep an open mind. I'm waiting for the Planning and Zoning Board and their recommendation and their thoughts, but this is going to be a tough one to approve. So, Mr. Frank.
I would agree. I would also echo your comments that it is our job to consider any and every application that's brought before us, and at the end of the day, it's our duty to approve or deny that request, like whether we like it or not. My first concern is reduction to the streetscape buffer, especially with a impactful use such as this. A 15-foot reduction in the streetscape buffer on Maynard directly across from the single-family homes is of tremendous concern to me. I have concerns regarding this potential use's impact on adjacent property values. Significant concerns regarding traffic, and this is not the applicant's fault. This is probably one of the most mucked up intersections we have in this town, and everybody that spoke, I agree with. I live very close to here. I drive this on a regular basis. Yes, you don't make certain turns. You go through the shopping center and cut throughs or make U-turns and such. It's a use such as this that would generate the number of trips to put in the middle of this mucked up intersection is just beyond me. I find this use to be out of character with its surroundings. I appreciate the one lady's comments that she, I think everybody realized that something's going to get built there one day. That we would hope to see new businesses and things in this shopping center. I don't think anybody expected to see a gas station. And there was one comment, would we want this in our backyard? For some people, this is in their front yard. I think it goes beyond backyard. So those are my concerns. I would echo your comments. The applicant has a very high hurdle to jump over, and I think that hurdle's more of a high jump, and good luck.
Other comments?
He covered all of mine.
Yeah, they're covered. I'm not going to repeat them. Okay, this will go to the Planning and Zoning Board for their recommendation. Usually that's a month out unless the applicant makes changes. And if they make changes, then it might be 2 months out, and it will have a public hearing at the Planning and Zoning Board if changes are made. Otherwise, there will be no other public hearings. But the Planning and Zoning Board and the Council will always take your comments, whether you want to phone them in, email them in, or whatever. And thank you all for coming and being very polite and showing interest in this proposal. So we're going to move on to our next public hearing. It's item 5.8. It's the Silverton PDD Amendment 16 REZ04. Ms. Grannon will once again introduce the staff report. The applicant will have an opportunity to explain the request. So we're going to conduct a public hearing, and no action will occur tonight. Instead, we're going to refer it to our Planning and Zoning Board for their recommendation. Ms. Grannon.
Thank you. This is a request for rezoning for property located at 1401 Evans Road on approximately 4.31 acres. Subject property is shown here highlighted in yellow. An aerial view of the subject property and a zoomed-in aerial view helps you see the location of the existing swim and tennis club in relation to the Fishers Creek subdivision to the south, and then the Silverton neighborhood to the west. The site is not impacted by any stream buffers or floodways, according to Cary's most recent GIS maps. There is a future street side trail and greenway trails in close proximity to the site, but no other impacts to our Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Resources Facilities Master Plan. Evans Road is a thoroughfare, Winfair Drive, a major collector road. A future transit route is proposed along Northwest Cary Parkway. The land use plan designation is parks and open space. The existing zoning is PDD, Planned Development District Major. This is part of the Silverton PUD that originated in 1987. The subject property circled in red was designated as Parcel S for active recreation. There was an amendment to other portions of the PDD in 1992, and the designation was more clearly defined as swim and tennis club. What's proposed now is to designate the property for commercial, indoor and outdoor recreation, and then to put specific zoning conditions that would limit the use to swimming pool, tennis courts, accessory uses such as snack bar, multi-purpose room, restrooms, multi-purpose field not lighted. Those are all there right now, so you might ask yourself, why the rezoning? Well, this helps explain it with the next condition, is that the maximum height of any structure shall not exceed 32 square feet. The applicant is proposing to have this be a year-round swim club, hence the need to cover the swimming pool. When they came in to propose the design, staff looked at what they were seeking and said that this is a significant enough change. This is more like commercial indoor-outdoor recreation rather than what you might see with just a neighborhood swimming pool. So we wanted to make sure this was thoroughly vetted and that the PDD more closely matched what the intention was. The applicant is also taking this opportunity with this amendment to enhance the buffer standard. The original PDD from 1987 showed a buffer, but it didn't specify how it should be vegetated. So they would use this opportunity to enhance that to a type B semi-opaque standard. That's the buffer adjacent to the Fisher Creek subdivision. Adjacent property owners were notified within 800 feet of the subject property. Community concerns were traffic, existing and future traffic, the aesthetics of the proposed pool cover, and there were concerns that were raised in some of the initial neighborhood meetings and calls to staff about the perimeter buffer and that there were some gaps in it. And then the applicant responded following the neighborhood meeting by saying that they would beef up the buffer planting standards. So that's that area shown in green right there along the southern portion of Parcel S. process. So as this goes through the process, we'll have the applicant put those specific zoning conditions on the PDD document so that they're finalized there. So again, following the public hearing, I will be available for your questions.
Thank you, Ms. Grant. At this time, I would invite the applicant forward to explain their proposal.
Good evening, Mayor and members of Council. My name is Glenda Topp. I'm with Glenda S. Topp and Associates, and I'm here tonight on behalf of the applicant. As Ms. Grant had pointed out, this proposal only affects a portion of the Silverton PUD. It is currently designated as Parcel S. The designation is active recreation open space, and the proposed change is to go to commercial indoor-outdoor recreation. As most of you know, the property is currently developed with a swim club and tennis courts. Current membership in this facility includes both those members who live in Silverton and also people who live outside of the Silverton community. The applicant is proposing to enclose the swimming pool on the parcel, and as staff pointed out, due to the fact that this is not your typical use of a recreation site in a neighborhood community like Silverton, it was felt that a PDD amendment would better reflect what's being proposed on the property. The facility being enclosed would allow the pool to be used year-round. When the zoning application was first submitted to the town, there was really only one, I guess, zoning condition, and that really just specified that the use was going to be commercial, indoor, outdoor recreation. At the neighborhood meeting that was held here at Town Hall, we did hear concerns from the neighbors in terms of what exactly would be on the property. They had questions about the structure, and there was also concerns about the existing buffer, particularly between the swim club and the Fisher Creek subdivision to the south. We heard those concerns, and as staff presented to council tonight, we did modify the zoning conditions and submitted them to the town. We have clearly specified what the uses would be under the definition that is being used as commercial indoor outdoor recreation. That was one big concern that the neighbors had. They wanted assurances that the site was going to be used for a swim club. Also, with the enclosure, there was a concern about height. We limited the height to 32 feet. And again, even though the Silverton PUD, or it was a PUD back then, PDD, was approved before the Fisher Creek subdivision, there was a concern about the buffer and the gaps in the buffer. And since the original PUD in Silverton did not specify a buffer type, we committed to a type B buffer. We also made it clear that if there was ever a desire to change the use of the property from a swim club, it would have to require a rezoning, that the zoning conditions that are being offered run with the property. So until such time somebody chooses to want to change that use, then it would remain a swim club. And also it's important to note that we had a second neighborhood meeting, which was well attended, and at that meeting we presented the new conditions to those who attended. I just want to spend a few minutes going into a little more detail about the proposed use of the property. The potential purchaser of the property is Paul Silver. He runs the Marlins of Raleigh swim team, and he's done this since 2001. The swim team has various facilities throughout the Triangle, but there is not a place in Cary that is really designated just for the Marlins swim team. And this is something that when he learned that the property was up for sale, he saw it as an opportunity for the Marlins to have a home in Cary. I would point out that the owner of the swim club has been looking for a while to sell the property. He's also been looking at the potential of selling it for something other than a swim club. There was an opportunity for the homeowners association to purchase the property, but that turned out to not be feasible. So again, Mr. Silver saw this as an extremely great opportunity for him to potentially purchase the pool. We had questions about membership at the pool. The membership will remain the same. The current members, whether you live in Silverton or not, will still be members of the pool. In the summertime, the pool will still have swim meets like they have now, so that won't stop. But what was pointed out to the neighbors is that since this pool will be year-round, those members of the Silverton swimming pool will also have the opportunity to use the pool year-round. So we saw this as a real asset to the community in terms of having a facility that could be used more than in the summer months. If anybody has gone by the property, it is not necessarily maintained that well. With this rezoning and Mr. Silver's commitment, if it happens to, and he is able to purchase the pool, then it is his desire to clean up the pool and make it look more like it's actually an active facility. What was interesting, and we passed this along to the neighbors who attended the meeting there, and they said this happens on a somewhat regular basis. There is interesting activity that occurs in the afternoons because apparently this pool appears to be like it's either run down, vacant, or whatever. So this will be an opportunity for the facility to be manned year-round. I think it's also important, if you look at the pictures that I passed out, this structure is considered a permanent structure. It's not like a bubble where it goes on X number of months of the year and then it comes down. This is actually a permanent structure, and because it's a permanent structure, it has to meet Town of Cary design guidelines. So as you see on the picture, Mr. Silver and several other of us met with staff to understand what it was going to take to make this structure fit into Cary's design guidelines. So as you see on your picture, there's columns that will be brick. So it is going to be a quite attractive enclosed structure because it is considered permanent. Therefore, it will, as I see it, when you open up the curtains, it reminds me like of a wedding venue. It looks that nice. But and I guess you could have a wedding in a swimming pool. I guess you could. But again, I want to say that Mr. Silver is very passionate about what he does. He's very passionate about being part of the community and what swimming offers to kids and what it means. He can't be here tonight because he's actually taking a group of people, I don't want to say children, kids, young adults, to the Olympic trials out in Colorado. So there is going to be somebody that's going to speak for him tonight. But again, he's very passionate about what he does, and he believes that if he has the opportunity to purchase the property, that it will be a Class A facility that will be not only an asset to this area, but to the town of Cary overall. I do want to close by saying the request does conform to the land use plan, since the use is still remaining the same as the current designation of parks and open space. The request will comply with the elements of the comprehensive plan. As I pointed out, with the structure and any other element of the LDO, any development on the site will comply with the requirements of the land development ordinance, and we believe that the property is suitable for the use proposed. Like I said, Mr. Silver is not here, but somebody will speak for him, and if anyone has a question about the specific structure, there is someone here tonight that can answer those questions. Thank you very much for the opportunity to address council.
Now's the time for the public hearing for Silverton PDD Amendment 16 REZ04, and I would invite our first speaker forward.
Thank you, and good evening. This is a letter from Paul Silver, the proposed owner of this
Could you give us your name,
site.
please?
Oh, my name is Matt Shade, sorry.
Thank you.
Again, letter from Paul Silver. Dear Mayor and Town Council members, I am sorry I'm not able to attend the rezoning hearing tonight. My name is Paul Silver, and I am the head coach of the Marlins of Raleigh swim team, or more. I moved to Cary in 1984 to coach the Cary-based Raleigh Swimming Association. In 2001, I established the Marlins of Raleigh swim team with 6 swimmers. We now have over 570 at 3 sites in Raleigh, North Raleigh, and Clayton. We have 12 swimmers qualified for the 2016 U.S. Olympic Trials, and we are the 11th ranked team out of over 2,700 in the U.S. Through swimming, Moore teaches young people to set goals, manage their time, achieve academic and athletic excellence, learn sportsmanship, and work as a team. We have 21 seniors graduating this year who will swim in college at schools such as Cornell, NC State, Florida, UNC Wilmington, George Mason, and many others. I'm sorry I'm not able to be with you tonight as we planned over a year ago to take 28 swimmers to train for a week at the U.S. Olympic Training Center in Colorado Springs from March 23rd to the 30th. This is an opportunity of a lifetime for these athletes. Last summer, I was made aware that the owner of the River Rock Swim Club located within Silverton was interested in selling the pool. I'm interested in purchasing the pool and putting up a permanent tent structure over the pool. This will allow us to make indoor swimming with more available year-round in this part of town. The expectation is that the majority of our swim team members will come from the surrounding area. In the summer, the pool will continue to act as a summer club as it does now. In the September through May timeframe, Moore will be running swim practices, swim lessons, lap swim, and open swim. This will provide indoor swimming to the community. Additionally, the property will be used during the winter versus currently appearing abandoned during that time. We plan on some sprucing up of the property to make it more attractive to its members and the community. I love coaching swimming and believe that being a good neighbor in this community is important. My wife is an eye doctor in Cary for the past 25 years, and our kids go to the public schools in Wake County. I think my purchasing of this pool will enhance property values and be an asset to the community. I look forward to moving forward on this project, and thank you for your time on this matter. Sincerely, Paul Silver. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Good evening. My name is Mike Patetta, and I'm one of the swim officials for the Silverton swim team. And we've been a swim team since 1990, and we've done fairly well. We've won a number of meets, and I would say most of the swim team members would like to continue swimming. So we're afraid that if this rezoning is denied, then the owner is going to close the pool and will end up like Triangle Swim Club. I'm sure you remember them, where the swim club was vacant for a number of years. So we strongly support Paul Silver's request. I know Paul Silver personally, and I think he'll make a fine owner. He'll make all the amenities available to us, and he'll make the swim team or the swim club a fine amenity for the neighborhood. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please. Yes, your left. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor and members of the Town Council. Thanks for your time. As well as Mike, I'm here to speak in support of the proposed...
What's your name, please?
I'm sorry, thank you. I was all ready to do that and still forget. I'm Ken Matz at 204 Council Gap Court in Cary. And I've heard a lot of good things tonight here for my first meeting. And I'm here to speak in support of Mr. Silver's proposed ownership and rezoning of the property. We've been in Cary for 12 years. I'm an employee at SAS Institute. We've been very fortunate to have a great life here for 12 years. We've raised our 2 kids. They were born here and they've been raised here. And for half of that time, we've been beneficial members of the pool. We've had wonderful memories there. And I've come to know the current owner of the pool, David Schrock, very well. We have a relationship. And when he mentioned that he was thinking about selling the pool because of whatever personal reasons he wanted to do that, I, as a member of the club and somebody who helps out by being the MC of the summer swim team, like to call myself the voice of the Sharks. I helped organize the membership to make sure that everybody was behind that. And while I can't speak for the 450 member units of the pool, I held meetings to make sure that they understood what David wanted to do and what we knew about Paul, which I've met him and I've reached out to him. I think he has the best use in mind. The folks who have spoken on his behalf have obviously spoken about his history as a passionate swim professional and a swim supporter. And so without making too many of the same points, I'm in support of that, and also would worry if we didn't do that, what the current owner would do and what might be in its place that would affect home values. We're not a member of that PUD, but that would affect home values, and like Mike said, possibly not give our kids a chance to swim. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Hello. My name is Elizabeth Adams, and I live in Silverton within 800 feet of the swimming pool. So I, in general, support the idea of a year-round swim team using the facility and hopefully sharing it with a summer swim team. But I have some concerns about this rezoning because it really, I think, sends a signal to the market that it's more of a commercial use. And when our PDD was created, there was a requirement for active recreational space to serve the planned single-family homes in Silverton and in Springbrook. And I'm just worried that this might cause the property to eventually flip. I do understand the concerns of our swim team members about losing the facility altogether, but there is another option. So the Cary Swim Club has a year-round swim team using their pool, and they do not have a permanent structure. They just have a temporary structure. So rather than rezoning, they just had to get a special use permit. So I just wanted to bring that up as an alternative to what's being proposed here. Another concern of one of my neighbors is that the swim membership, the summer membership, will actually decline because people are used to going to the pool and having it being open sky and also being able to enjoy the outdoors more. So the concern about a year-round tent being over the pool may change the attractiveness to summer membership. So if revenue or if membership declines for the summer members and revenue declines, will that result in the pool closing as well? So again, in general, I'm in favor of the pool being owned by Paul Silver, being improved, being used, but I would just encourage him and the council and the Planning and Zoning Board to determine if really commercial, I know it's commercial, there's a longer term to it, but it just doesn't sound like it's going to preserve the use of a swimming pool. So thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Adams. Next speaker, please. Anyone else for this public hearing? Could I get you to move to your left? Thank you.
My name is Chris Carver. Mr. Mayor and Council, thank you for hearing me. I am the builder of the first picture that you saw on the page, the Raleigh Swimming Association. If you're familiar with it, used to be the 8 years abandoned Candler Swim Club on Jones Franklin Road. I wanted to come up here and talk a little bit about the structure and give you the opportunity to answer any questions that you all may have about it. It's the fabric on the top is a vinyl, and it is a semi-translucent, so it still lets light through while blocking all the UV damaging rays. So it provides for a healthier atmosphere for the swimmers during the summer season. As far as the Cary Swim Club version of it, for this particular pool being a Z-shaped pool, and because of the size and the needs of the swim team for using this, how they want to use it in the off season, a temporary structure at this location will put it out of the cost feasibility range for the applicant because of the size of the structure and the cost of putting it up and taking it down every year. So for this plan to work, it has to be a permanent structure, or it won't be something he's interested in pursuing. It's a it's a very effective way to use the existing pool and to save it from not being a pool anymore. And I just wanted to tell you that I'm here to answer any questions you have about it. I've built 3 of these structures, and I have 3 in the planning phases right now.
Thank you, Mr. Carver. Next speaker, please. Anyone else for this public hearing? Seeing no one, we'll open it up to council members for questions or comments. I guess my comments are mostly aesthetics related. Mainly, I go right by this like every day, but I'm not close enough to ever see it. So I want to know if you could see the structure from the street. I think you can. Yep. And can you see it from any house around it in the neighborhoods? Those are my questions aesthetically.
You certainly would be able to see it from the street. There are, as I mentioned earlier, there's a couple of gaps in the streetscape, but that's something the applicant's proposing to address. Okay. So, yes, there's not a huge amount of streetscape area along Evans Road. So with a height of 32 feet, sure, yes, I'm sure you would be able to see it.
I would just point out that this pool is much further away from single-family homes than Cary Swim Club would be.
Right.
Yeah, true.
So my other question, my other question is the illustration that was provided to us. How much of that is enforceable? What are the minimum requirements for this structure that what is the worst case scenario that we could see?
This actually, I think, is fairly close to what you can expect. Any sort of permanent support columns would need to be 75% masonry. They'd need to have a base, a cap, a middle portion. So this is close to what we described. We haven't seen an official plan yet, but the flaps on the sides would be treated like windows. So, we don't have a material requirement for a roof, so the vinyl covering, that's not something we'd have a requirement on. We would look for neutral colors, a neutral color palette for the vinyl. You're not going to see some bright, high-intensity color with the material. You'd be looking at natural brick or stone columns. So I think this is a pretty good example of what you'd expect to see.
And I apologize to council, I just thought of one more question.
It's okay.
So if there's damage to the roof, what enforcement abilities do we have to get them to repair that damage other than they would want the need? Let's say something tears and it's flapping in the wind and it's summertime and they really don't care until the winter, so it flaps for, I don't know, months.
I was going to say, I think that's I think it would take care of itself. You'd obviously have to get it repaired if it was the wintertime. But okay. Yeah, if there's if there's a state of disrepair with something, sure. Yeah.
Just curious, and those were all my concerns.
For the same reason I supported the one directly down the street from my house, I'm pretty inclined to support this one as well for a lot of the amenities that it brings the area, our youth, gives them an opportunity to swim year-round. I mean, places for kids to swim, we are in such short supply here, especially for the number of kids that are involved in that sport. Traffic is not a concern to me. I think that done right, it actually enhances property values. It obviously meets a need. It's pretty heavily conditioned. The statements or insinuations that if something like this isn't approved, that this pool might cease to exist are pretty true. Mm-hmm. And if you haven't been by it recently, I'd encourage you to go by. It's not the best looking piece of property right now. And the reality is, for the concern that this might seem more of a commercial use, this has always been a commercial use. This has never been an HOA pool. It has always been a member pay-to-play kind of thing. So, and the current individual owner is struggling tremendously, and I think this is a way to actually make it financially viable and provide a long-term amenity to the adjoining community.
Other comments?
I just agree completely.
Yeah, I would just say that my son swam year-round, and because one of my sons did, and as a result was able to swim in NC State, and he's a friend of Paul Silver, swims with him, and just had told me that he thought of all the coaches in there, thought he was one of the strongest, and he was so positive about this. He'd heard about this sometime before, and he was very excited for this opportunity because of the quality program and the kids that Paul turns out. And so I'm very excited about that.
Other comments?
Well, I'll just say real fast, if you are not familiar with what used to be called Candler Pool and the tent over it, then I'd encourage you to go by. I have 2 swimmers now. I used to have 3. Now I have 2 swimmers because one's off to college. But one of them practices in the winter at what used to be called Candler Pool. And the structure is decent looking. It doesn't even have brick pillars.
I know.
Brick
I'm jealous of this one, given what.
Yeah. So I'm very excited about this.
Yeah, my girls learned to swim at Candler. Both
They?
of them. Yeah. Okay, this will go to the Planning and Zoning Board, and we will hear this in the future. Thank you, Ms. Grannon.
Thank you.
We now move to discussion items. Our first discussion item is the auditor selection and contract award. Ms. Mills will present the item, and council may take action.
It's a great guy. Just one thing that you have to say.
Good evening, Council. State statutes require the town to hire an independent CPA firm to audit the town's annual financial statements, and the statutes specify that council select and contract with the auditors. The town's third 5-year contract with the CPA firm of Cary has expired, and to facilitate the selection process for you, staff issued a request for proposals and conducted evaluations on 7 proposals. Based on the excellent service that we've received in the past and their experience with Cary's large North Carolina municipal peers, staff recommends that council select Cary as the town's auditors with a 3-year contract and an option to renew for up to an additional 2 years.
Thank you, Ms. Mills. I mean, to me, this is like a no-brainer. If it's not broke, don't fix it.
Well, can I just,
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I thought in the auditing world, the concern is that relationships get established and that can compromise things. And I thought it was, even from the auditors, it was encouraged that you not retain the same one on over and over again. So
There are two schools of thoughts on that. I understand and have heard that before. The firm must assert every year its independence and reevaluate its relationship with its clients. And the town is also very sensitive to that matter. We do have a change in staff every year as the staff develop and turnover. We've had a change in the audit partner on our work as well.
There's a change of their staff, so you're not
Yes,
working
sir.
with the same people.
Yes, sir. We have had the same manager on the on our work for a number of years, but she's moved up and expect her to move on to partner responsibilities.
Other?
I will make a motion as recommended by staff.
Second. There's a motion and a second. Further discussion?
I would just appreciate Jack's comments, but it's also good to hear the response to that.
Good question, Jack. All in favor?
Sounds like you're surprised.
I'm serious. All in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries unanimously. Thank you, Ms. Mills. All right, we move to our last item on the agenda. It's a council-initiated request on the town SIL. Council may take one of the following actions: discuss the issue and take action at the meeting if no information is required from staff and council does not need to seek public input. Or we can refer the request to a future council meeting, at which time staff will report with recommendations that will be prepared, or decide not to pursue the council-initiated request. Mrs. Bush is the initiator of the item, and I would ask you to please explain your request.
Please explain.
Okay. Convince me, is that what
Yeah.
So a little bit of background for people maybe watching who aren't aware. For a long time, the town has had the seal. And in the 70s, there was a movement to update the seal. And at that time,
and Ms. Moran can always correct me if I get anything wrong. At that time, on the seal was our moniker of the gourd capital of the world. So little known fact, but I'm sure Mr. Yerhar knew that. But that was removed, and the rest of the seal was pretty much unchanged. There used to be gourds around the outside. For those of you maybe looking at the seal right now, there used to be gourds, and it was the gourd capital of the world was on the bottom. At that time, that was the last time we touched the seal. And if you look at the seal today, and by the way, I love what the seal represents. I love that it has our history, and it talks about where we came from, right? Our focus on education, our focus on excellence. The last time that we touched anything around the seal was in 2001, and some of you may have been on council at the time, when the town flag was created. And at that time, although the seal wasn't touched, the colors of the flag was officially adopted. The seal was a little updated, made a little bit more clear. At this time, our seal is our brand. It's our identity. And I don't want to change what it means. What I'd like us to consider and ask staff to look at, what it would take to update it, to refresh it. It's a pencil and ink type of drawing. It's very difficult to see the word Cary. In fact, I remember the mayor coming up one day and readjusting his lapel pin, and I gave mine to one of the people in the audience today, so I don't have mine on. So I like the idea of the seal. I like where it came from. I like our history, and I like to celebrate it. I just like to bring it up to date. Even our own lapel pin doesn't follow the seal. It's got color. It's got gold. But our own seal that we use on our documents is black and white. So my proposal, and discussing it with Ms. Robinson, who can chime in as well, was what is the possibility of updating or refreshing the seal? Not changing any of the history or what's behind it. What would that look like? What would be the potential cost? Maybe even looking at what other municipalities have done. I don't want an in-depth rehash of our seal. That's not who we are or where. I don't want to lose where we came from. But what I'd like is something that's appealing, a little bit better than the hand-drawn look that we have today, and something maybe a little bit more colorful that shows our new identity, an identity that's changed significantly since the last time we touched it in 1970, or in the 70s. So I'll let Ms. Robinson add to that, since she seconded my motion.
Yeah, I think you explained it very well. I mean, before Lori had even brought this up, I was sitting at the Triangle J Council of Government office, and they have all 36 member government seals there, and I was looking at it, and I was like, oh, it's a little bit on the modest, plain side, you know. And then Lori called soon after that, and she's like, what do you think about updating this? And I do think it has merit to study the issue and see if it's something we want to do. And I don't think we're voting tonight to say, yes, let's definitely do it, or change the seal, but this is more of like, let's direct our staff to give us some options and let us know what we might do if we wanted to do this.
Other comments?
Interesting. I was at a meeting at Triangle J, and I was staring at those 36, and I was really admiring how tasteful ours was and how honky-tonk the rest of them were. So I guess, this is, I think we're going to get in the discussion. Yeah, we're going to get into that kind of a discussion. Yeah. Where I see some merit is, just like on the flag, you need a different, sometimes you need a little bit of a different look for the use. With a lot of stuff being electronic now, in an electronic age, I think you need a little bit of, some of the fine stuff in the, minutiae is not the right word, but the fine graving in that doesn't come out. And, so I can see that might need to be cleaned up for different uses, just like for the flag, just for maybe stationary or something else like that. But I don't think that means we're changing the seal. I think it just means we are authorizing maybe a little bit of a different use, a different look based on the use that we're needing. I may not be explaining that well, but I don't want to mess with our history. God, I sound like Ed. But I think it is our foundation, those 4 emblems. I don't want to mess with that, but I understand the point about maybe refreshing some things or allowing some flexibility. So those are my comments.
Other comments?
I want to hear what Ed has to say.
Oh, I know what he has to say. Bring back the gourds.
Well, he said the exact.
That thought came into mind.
Took my line away from me.
Sorry.
No, I mean, yeah, we're not obviously going to be bringing back the gourds, but I certainly would vote in favor if we did. I really see no need to change it. I have never seen a compelling need to make the change. Certainly, if we, as you described it, Jack, if we were spiffing it up a little bit, I mean, I like it the way it is. If it were spiffed up a little bit, I'd probably like it that way too, if that's all that was done to it. But I'm concerned about staff time and some of these things that seem very simple to us. And this does seem like a simple request. It takes a lot more staff time than we think it might take. And I know Ms. Miranda's at the podium. I don't know if she wants to comment on it. No, she's shaking her head. But I'm concerned about that, especially since I don't necessarily see a direct benefit to our citizens for the use of that staff time. I mean, we do a lot of things administratively that aren't direct benefits to our citizens. I understand that. But somehow I'm usually able to rationalize it in such a way that I see a benefit. And I don't necessarily see one here, unless it's something that the staff thinks, wow, I know what I could do with this, and it'll take, a day to do it, and we get it back, and we like it, and that's that. But I just fear that it's not going to be that simple.
Mayor, I asked Susan to come up just for some technical expertise if we need it. I can talk about the timing, the costs to spiff up our town seal, and I am concerned it would take a higher level person to coordinate this, which we're pretty much, we have those assignments, so we would have to be really looking at workload and see what's going to have to be put off in order to do that. Not a big deal. We can bring that up. What I would suggest is similar to our work session of 2 weeks ago, that we come up with some options to try to get a little more definition to spiffing up, kind of give you a spectrum of options, timing, costs, and then we can make a decision at that point. It'd probably be, Susan, help me out, a month, two meetings before we can get this back, or actually with timing, it could be 3 meetings.
The meeting schedule is a little unusual over the next couple of months, so I think that proposal would come back the first meeting in May for your options.
Okay. I'm of the opinion if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I see nothing wrong with the seal. I would not want to change anything that's internal to the circle of the seal, and I wouldn't want to bring the gourds back. So the only thing I would consider is an enhanced digital version for electronic media and such, so that it maybe shows up a little better because the lines are a little skinny. Doesn't really maybe pop on the page. Other than that, I don't want to touch it. The history and the heritage of it and all, I don't want to throw colors at it. I don't want to do anything to it other than maybe tweak it a little bit for digital presentation. So if we are going to direct staff to do anything but that tonight, I'm going to vote against it.
Okay. Other comments?
Even if it's beige, I mean, could we go maybe?
I think it's perfect the way it is.
Mr. Jordan.
I thought it was green and not black. On the digital, because the one that I right-clicked on and saved as on my computer came out green. I didn't make it green, so I don't know what I pulled it from, but I didn't know it was black and white. I thought it was green and white.
Actually, the town's graphic standards would let you make it any color in white.
Okay.
May I ask, do you care for that version?
Yeah.
Okay.
The only difference that I've heard, and I've heard it from several council members, is sometimes the most prominent thing there is the incorporation date. And there's not a problem with that. That's part of our history as well. It can sometimes be on the digital and even on our lapel pins, difficult to see that we're Cary. It's really hard to read Cary, especially on the gold. But that's really, I mean, I think what you said and what Jack said are very similar in that how do we improve our brand by being able to actually read it, right? Because when it was created in the 70s, it was created for print. And it's very difficult now to be able to see it in all these different types of media and to see what's prominent. And I actually like what they did, or whoever did the pins way back when. I've actually liked some of the previous pins a little bit better, but I like the colors that were chosen. They were based on the flag colors, right? I'm not pushing myself one way or the other. I just like to see it so that it is easier to read, keeping our historic commitment, or our commitment to our history and everything that we stand for intact. Not saying bring back the gourds either.
Any other comments?
I mean, it seems to me that when needed, like for a lapel pin, you add a little green and white to it and make them. If you've seen a green version, I've seen black versions. We've got a black and gold version right there.
Well, I think the problem is that we have rules and regulations about when we can use the seal, because the keeper of the seal, known as our town clerk, we can't use our seal everywhere. We're very limited to where we can use it and what we can do with it. So I don't know how it is that this occurred, but this isn't our official town seal. Our official town seal is that black and white one. I'm not sure how we can move and shake around these things, but having something a little bit different that's approved by council, I think it might be a good idea. I'm just letting you know that.
Maybe it would be good just to begin with, at some point, have Susan come to us and give us a little primer on the seal and what can and cannot be done, and how we have this seal here, which is a little bit more ornate than the seal on the flag, and what that all means. And that shouldn't take too much time for you. I mean, you could probably just come and talk to us off the top of your head about this. Let's just start with that and kind of understand it a little bit better, and then we can make a decision if we want to move forward with doing anything else.
Mr. George.
I do like the idea of a digital opportunity, because I guess we are stamping things digitally, and if it's not readable as well, so maybe there is a way, even though I know we don't use it like a logo, it's used for stamp things, but maybe if we could combine that into a motion that says she just comes and talks to us about the seal, and then maybe talks to us about what doing updating a digital version would look like, or not. I could do that. I'm just asking if it's.
Are we ready for somebody to make a motion?
Mayor, it sounds more like a work session discussion.
Ooh.
So,
I don't know if I'm going to work.
are you talking?
Yeah, really.
I just don't know if you want to.
You made the motion. You're the one.
I just don't know how much of a discussion you want with this. That's
not that much.
Okay, good. We got it.
What if we drop it until we finish Imagine Cary? How about let's imagine Cary before we imagine the seal?
If there's no motion, we're done.
Well, I'll make the motion if it goes down in flames. I'll make a motion that we ask staff to do exactly what Mike suggested, which is to take a look at what the cost might be, what the options might be, to look at refreshing the seal, keeping its current way, shape, and form intact, but making it visually usable in a digital format, as well as whatever staff might come back up.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second it. But I would like it, may I just add, I'd like just to have general information about the seal when you come back, help us understand the history of it.
Other comments? All in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? No. Motion fails 5-2. Thank you very much. Any other comments?
Well, come back and eat.
That concludes our agenda, and I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
There's a motion. Is there a second? Does anybody want to?
Anybody want to stay here all night?
I'll second it.
All right, and a second. Discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We're adjourned. Thank you.
This has been a production of Cary TV. Visit the Town of Cary's website at townofcary.org.